Hey there, welcome everyone to another session of this Global Hack Week. I know we're basically reaching like the end of the week, so we are actually in day six. And we will, have still a lot of content for you today throughout these hours that will continue. So I will be basically start off today just mentioning that we will be using a tool called Vapi. So I'm pretty sure some of you like already heard some of things about this tool. In case you don't, I will be explaining like how this works and so on. So for this first session, which is basically like the part one, I will be kind of like explaining all of the general things about voice generation, and then on the part two, we're going to go on and build our AI agent. So that's because today we have like 1 hour for this stream, but then like in a couple hours, so that would happen in around, let me see. So it will happen in around like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So about 4 more hours. I will be sending out like reminders as well. We will have like the part two. So we will also be building right now like our voice generated agent, just that we will be building it from the dashboard itself. And then we're going to use that same AI agent for calling that we created today for the next session that we are going to add it into our web app as well. So don't forget to check into these workshops so you can get like your points for the weekend. I'm pretty glad to hear that you are all excited for this. I'm also excited to be teaching this as well. So without further ado, let's start our session today for our technical stream. Great. So my name is Jocelyn. I'm a coach here at Major League Hacking. I also get to staff like hackathons, and I'm also part of the fellowship team. So I also get to like coordinate like different pods like for production engineering with Meta. Some of my fun facts is that I like Minecraft bee plushies. I collect them, so that's like super fun. I am also interested into mechanical keyboards, robotics, and neurotech as well. You can also ask me about the GitHub Campus Expert program in case that you want to apply or you want your community to be part of this program. You can also reach out to me as well on the Discord. Yeah, so for today, or at least like this part one of our session, we will be understanding how voice generation work, and then we're going to see like some tools and how to get started. And then I'm going to move on the stream onto the Vapi dashboard, and we're going to make our first phone call to our AI agent and see like how it replies and so on. So my goal here is that after this session, you will be able to call your AI assistant like from your mobile phone. So like I'm also going to be doing it like from my mobile phone, but also I will encourage you to do it like yourselves as well. And I will be sharing like all of the steps on how to do it, so we can then on the next stream like do something about it. And I will also be hearing from you like some feedback or some recommendations for our next stream that will happen in a few couple hours. So first things first, we have voice generation. So what is voice generation? So this is a section of AI. Of course, if we want to generate something, then that has to do like a lot with AI. And how this works is that it basically translates the text that we have into speech, and not only like reading it in kind of like a monotone manner, it's also like giving the actual accents and the punctuation and kind of like the feeling that a person wants to put like onto their text. It's also like all done like through voice generation. So that basically happens using a technique called text to speech, which I'm pretty sure some of you have already heard about that, like text to speech or speech to text, which is just kind of like translating what's into text into like a voice. So what you have like written in text can be like kind of like said out loud by an AI. So this is very challenging, and this process is kind of like complex, but I will be giving you like the easy steps on how this works, so you can have like nice insights of how this works. So I know like all of this is not necessary like for the Vapi tool itself, but like it's important to understand like what goes like below that, at least on the backbone of the application itself. So voice generation basically has two important points. So voice generation is constructed through neural networks. So this is like a neural network that's working out in there, and it's capable to artificially construct voices. So they are artificial because there's like no human that's like saying those voices. And I'm pretty sure like before like the boom of AI and all of those external tools that we have out there for like text to speech things, we had kind of like the Siri assistants. So like some of those voices, or like the secretaries that answer like your phone, those were like pre-recorded voices from like actual humans that used to go to like a studio and record their voices that they could be played on like the machines. But like now that it's not like necessary anymore, so like now how we do it is just basically using like artificial voices to replicate like this feeling that we are talking like to another human, which is kind of creepy, but still it's something quite interesting as well. Yeah, so artificial intelligence basically goes through like a lot of chunks of data, and it also like kinds of like learns about a lot of audio that's in there related to human speech. So basically, the AI can learn from the speech or the audio that you give it to it to learn, which is also kind of scary. But you know that's how things are working now, and we must like move along as well with technology, so we are not like left behind. So the first step for doing voice artificial voice generation is the text processing. So we have our text that's already translated from voice into text, and what we're doing there is just basically cleaning up the text in case there's like some mistakes or something that shouldn't be there. Then we go ahead and expand the abbreviation. So like if you have Mr. or like Doctor, instead of the AI saying like dr dot, it would say like doctor, as a regular person like would do. We also like write the numbers instead of like having the seven, like we have to write the actual spelling for seven, so like Seven. And finally, we also like handle punctuation and dates. So punctuation is also important because then like imagine like the AI saying like hi dot, how are you, comma, and things like that. So it will be weird. And what we want there is like to replicate a human voice as like similar as possible. So that's the step number one, doing our text processing, which includes like all of these kind of like middle steps. And then for step number two, we have the linguistic analysis. So as I mentioned before, what happens with AI is that we basically want to like replicate the voice as natural as possible. So instead of sounding like super robotic, we have to do something about it to make it more human and make it more like um, believable. I don't know if that word exists, but yeah, like to make us believe that we are talking like to someone else. And this linguistic analysis has like several steps inside there. So we first need to analyze the grammar to determine like the meaning or the intentions that the person has. So perhaps if you are reading like a poem, it's different like from reading like an essay or like a sad song. So we want our voice to replicate like those feelings that we want to have denoted into our grammar from our text in there. Another thing that we have to do is replicate the basic sounds. So like instead of saying like we want to pronounce that as like or depending on the language that we are talking. For example, like in Mexico, we have like accents on our words, and those letters that have like accents are like pronounced much more like deeper. So we want the AI to know and learn that as well, like from the basic sounds that we provided. Another thing that we want to note is the rhythm and the stress, and also like the intonation. So like we want to have a tone throughout like our whole sentence, to let us know if like the voice will be happy, if it will be stressed, or if it will be like joyful, cheerful, and so on. And finally, inside the linguistic analysis, we also had to figure out the sentence structure. So how is the sentence structured in a way that we can semantically like relate that to the meaning that we want to give to our text, like as a whole. So yeah, that's the second step. The second step is linguistic analysis, which is also cool. Now the third step, it's where the actual complications like start coming in. So this is called acoustic modeling. I know it's kind of like a fancy word, but in this step we have deep learning. We use deep learning to predict a spectrogram. So spectrogram, and we will see these on the next slide. Spectrogram is basically a visual representation of a sound. So, like for example, a crying baby will have like a different spectrogram compared to like a barking dog or like a honk from a car. So we will have like different graphs with different spectrograms, and we want to use deep learning to analyze like these spectrograms that it's in there. So we have a question here. Is this AI? Yes. So deep learning is basically an inside core of like everything that AI is related to. And this is because instead of just like reading the text, the AI is kind of like basically determining the tone that we want to give to our sentence, the intentions, and also like an artificial voice that was like has never like been heard before. Which again, I think it's kind of like creepy, especially like all of the models that are coming out. Like I think it was like the last 2 weeks that there was like the Google model that came out that could make like videos with audio. I had a friend generate like a couple of those like from his computer because he had like the pro access to the models, and it was super scary. Like I don't know, like actually, I'm going to ask a question in the chat on, do you think that the AI generated images and the AI generated videos are kind of like scary for you? Not only like scary because they are weird, but more in the side of like you are seeing like a person that doesn't exist and that a machine basically created like that artificial person or that artificial like, I don't know, anything like object and so on. So I'll leave that question on the chat for you to answer, and I'll be reading like your comments because I think that will be like a nice discussion. Honestly, I should start writing like the ideas that I come up like doing the streams, because like yesterday we talked about doing streams about low level systems, so like C, bare metal, and ROS as well. And then I think from this stream, what I take away right now is that it might be interesting to give a stream about the concerns and the negatives of like AI, not only like the positives, because we always discuss the positives, but more about the negatives, about the pollution that it is causing, the jobs that are being like left behind. And I know like some of us might say like, oh, we all need like to move on, and yeah, that is true. But also like we should be using like these efforts like to contribute to actual like medical research, or like even like space research would also be like an interesting effort. Yeah, they're creepy, and yeah, sometimes like we can even like tell them apart. So some of them are like kind of obvious like for us because we were like in the generation where AI basically like had its peak. But like imagine like persons that like were not present like on that period of time, like for example like your grandparents or like your uncle and so on. So they might not even like recognize the difference. And I just find it like super bad when someone like posts like an AI video or like an AI image online, and like just seeing it, it's like like no, like take this down. Like if you're not gonna tell the audience that this is AI, then like I might as well save my time on not like looking at that video or like that image as well. And especially when AI merges with different parts of human bodies, that's hella weird. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a concern that that some of us had on the past, like when all of the AI generated images like started coming up. That like imagine someone like taking pictures from you and then like recreating kind of like you doing like bad stuff. Like that's not a good thing. So yeah, thank you for your answers and like having kind of like these like open chat to discuss like some of the concerns. I will for sure reconsider on the next streams to do something about like the concerns of AI and the rise of it in our society as well, because that will be like an interesting discussion. Not more like a presentation, but more of like a discussion like with hackers and like people from those that are like watching the stream. Great. So going back to our slides, so we were talking about the different steps for doing like artificial voice generation. So for the third step, as I already mentioned, we have the acoustic modeling. So yeah, this is basically where most of the AI part goes into on developing like these spectrograms. And then the last part is basically doing our voice synthesis. So voice synthesis is just basically turning our spectrogram, which is nothing more than just a graph, and turning it into a human like audio using encoder. So there are different encoders out there. I don't recall like specific names, but I know like there are different like technologies that encode like video, encode like voices or text and so on. So this like last step just basically consists on like turning our graph, which is like the spectrogram, and the spectrogram it is the how do I say this? It's the visual representation of a sound. I know it sounds weird, like how would you even represent a sound with something visual? But it's very interesting to look at them. I mean, here are some examples. I know the graph is like not super clear, but like for example, on the first one, I think we have clock tick, and then on the second one we have like crying baby over here. Then we also have a dog and sea waves and ooh, the rooster is actually interesting. So the rooster is the one that we have on our first column on the second row. So it has like different peaks in there that are like red. So probably that's kind of like where the sound is like more intense, which also like makes sense. I mean, the clock tick it's kind of like constant because like it's always happening, but the rooster is like incoming noise and then like the noise decreases and then like incoming noise and then like it goes. And the crying baby, the crying baby it's actually interesting because it's like kind of like half red then half like green. So yeah, that's interesting to see. These are the spectrograms, and then these spectrograms are basically turned into human audio, which is where the AI part is also like into. So as recap of everything that we've seen so far, these are the steps. So step number one, it's like doing our input text. Then we have the normalization step, which is like cleaning up all of the punctuations. Do like some decompose the abbreviations and so on. Then for the third step, we have like the grammar. So for grammar, it's just basically giving it like a semantic meaning. So we have like the intentions and the feelings of the text that the person wants to like convert into a voice. Then we have to create our spectrograms using deep learning. And finally, we create our synthetic audio using the spectrograms that we generated before. Yep. So that will be basically it for the theory part of how voice generation works. Remember that if you have any questions, like you can drop them on the chat, um, as we are going to be moving on with the next part where we will be learning about some tools. And the tool that we will be learning first is called Vapi. So Vapi is just a tool to create like voice AI agents for developers. So there are some more tools that are like direct competition for Vapi, but Vapi is the one that I like, that I personally like have liked the most. Because I've also tried DeepGram, I've also tried Hume AI, and what else? Oh, and I also tried the real time OpenAI API. So for the real time from OpenAI, it's weird because I tried using it, but I think there's like a learning curve in there. because you have to set up like different things like on your local, and then like creating a WebSocket to have like the open connection between like both your AI agent and both the user that wants to interact with like the human, with like the user that is wanting to talk to like the real-time API. And honestly, Vapi, it's like super easy to get started, and it also gives you like a free phone number. So, for example, when I was working with DeepGram, I had to buy like a phone number from Twilio. And in my personal opinion, Twilio can sometimes be kind of, it can be kind of stressing because like they charge you a lot for like small things. So yeah, so most of the things are like limited if you don't have like the pro version. So Vapi giving us like the actual phone numbers for free, it's like super cool, and you can just like go in the dashboard and just like plug and play it, and it's so nice. So here is kind of like the architecture of how it works, but like instead of going with this image, I'm going to be sharing the image on my screen so I can like make it bigger, because I think it's like a little small on the slide deck in there. So I want to be able to like zoom in and stuff. So let me stop sharing these and I'll start sharing my other screen. There we go. So let's go ahead and search for Vapi. And before going into the actual, like generating our API keys, like testing like some easy examples, we're going to try like, first we're going to see like the orchestration model that they have. So like the backend of their application and how it works. So that is over here. So this is the diagram that I had before. And let's go and zoom this in. So we have our telephony input. So that just basically like it can be Twilio or it can be like any other provider. Or we can also have an input from the Vapi client SDK. So Vapi has its own SDK. Honestly, I've only used like the web SDK, but I'm sure you can also use it like in Python using WebRTC or in Flutter. Flutter is also cool, like for developing apps, multi-platform apps, especially. Yep. And then we also have we have different things in here. So we have the transcription provider, because you need to choose like how you want to transcribe um, your well, not your message, but like the thing that you're saying like into your phone call. And there are different providers that Vapi supports with. An example can be DeepGram or Whisper from OpenAI. Then you need to select your model provider. So model provider, it's kind of like how the AI will think for you. I almost always use like GPT, but like you can use any other as well. And finally, for the voice provider, they use 11 Labs, but you can also use DeepGram or Azure as well. So 11 Labs is cool because like you can have like a lot of different voices, and DeepGram as well. I think they have a couple of Spanish voices that are also like super cool. Yep. And then you can also host it like you can have it like on your server, depending on where you want to host it. And yeah, here are just basically the outputs. But inside the Vapi orchestration layer, there's different things to look into. So we have our endpointing model that just basically to detect like when the user pauses and when it's time for the AI agent to talk. Then we also have background voice filtering. So this is very cool because the voice filtering or the background noise, it's just you can basically have a configuration of your agent where you want to have office sounds like on the background. So while you're talking like to the AI agent, you can hear like office sounds like on the background, and then that's also super nice because like you feel that you are actually talking to someone that's like on an office, which is also kind of weird, but it's also nice to have. Then we have the interruption model that's to detect when the user like stops speaking. We have the back channeling model to affirm with like yeah, and all of the other like all of the other like words that we use usually when we are talking like by the phone. We also have like emotion detection. Vapi can also like detect emotion from the color. And finally, we have the filler injection model that just basically true transform the LLM output into like real time. So like make our voice agent respond like in live. So yeah, that's just basically like the that's the orchestration model. I'm going to go ahead and click on like give it a try. I'm going to allow like use my microphone. Hello, I'm giving a stream right now. Yeah, I'm not sure if you were able like to hear that, but let me actually like share it with audio because I think you were not able like to hear the audio. Yeah, hold on. Let me just share a screen. I need to share my whole screen. Mm, yeah, no. Um, yeah, no worries. I'll just share like the Vapi and we will build like an our AI agent and then I'll just try like from my phone and like put it on speaker. And I also encourage you to do it like as well. So let me share again. There we go. So let's go ahead and start like creating our accounts. So I'm going to send this link over on the chat for you to start creating like your accounts, and I'll give you like some time for you to create it. I already have like a Vapi account created, so I just clicked like on open dashboard, and then you'll have to input like your email, your password, or in case you need to create an account or sign in again, you can go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to sign in. I think I'll use this one. There we go. So I'll basically give you like 2 to 3 minutes for you to create your accounts, so you can basically see like the same dashboard, and then we'll move on to like creating our first like AI call. Great. So back. Let's continue with this. I hope you were all able like to create your free accounts in here. I'm actually seeing that they basically changed like the billing method. So like earlier before, like you were able to have like I think there were like 1,000 minutes of like free calls and it renewed like each month. But now like I only have like 10 credits. I'm not sure if like those credits are like few or if they're like enough. But yeah, this is definitely new. Honestly, I don't like it, but like I kind of like understand them because who doesn't want like a free things in there. Great. So let's go over here and generate our phone number first. So let's go ahead and click on phone numbers and let me make my screen bigger. So we have phone numbers in there and then I'm going to click on create phone number. Yep, so these are like basically like free of charge. So for the area code, I'm going to use the default, so 346. Or maybe I can try with 52, which is like the Mexico one, and click on create. Yeah, that's not possible. So 346 will be. So I'm going to click on create. And this article, this code is not currently available. Try 719. So let's try 719. And there we go. So now our phone number will be basically like activating. So we have to wait a little bit for it to like stop activating. In the meantime, we're going to head over to the assistants tab, and then we're going to create a new assistant. So let's create a new one, and let's call it. We're going to call it Ryan. Yeah, Ryan. And instead of leaving it as a blank template, let's see if there's like a cool one that we can try in here. Care coordinator, feedback gatherer, info collector, lead qualification specialist, customer support, appointment scheduler. That sounds interesting because like for this one, we can basically do it on the next stream where like we might like set up appointments. So let's try the appointment scheduler and let's call it let's keep it with Ryan. And then let's click on create assistant. There we go. So let me make this let me move over here. Great. So right over here, we can basically like talk directly to the assistant, but like we just want to call it through our phone number, but we are waiting for it to activate. So here are the sections that I was telling you before from the model orchestration that we need to configure like the model that we want to use. In this case, OpenAI, it's like the default, and we are setting it up to make our assistant speak first. And it says like, thank you for calling Wellness Partners. This is Riley, your scheduling assistant. So I'm just going to delete everything like from here because like that's not very relevant. So I'm just going to have it said like, this is Ryan, your scheduling assistant. How may I help you today? And then it has like it has like a system prompt like by default, but you can basically like edit that on there. Then you can also like select files. So those files that you select, it's kind of like a RAG knowledge base. So imagine that you're using this service like for your company. So you can basically upload like important files from your company to make it to query them once the AI agent is speaking. Then we also have like the temperature of how imaginary we want our model to be. And here I will leave it like as the default. Then in here we have voice configuration. In this case, we have a default, which is Vapi provider, and the voice is of a man that's named Elliot. But you can also like change it. There are more in here. So yes. We also have like additional configuration, so we can have like background sound, and we can even add our own background sound. So here's the default, but you can also like upload a custom one where you can like edit the background sound URL. So you can even like, I don't know, you can put in the background like a song or like a crowd talking, or you can also like place it off. I'm going to leave it as office sound, so it looks like I'm actually like scheduling a call with someone who's like in an office. Then over here we have the transcriber. So transcriber is just basically to put our voice into text. So once we finish like our call, it will be basically just like having the text in here in case that you want to do it like as reference. Here is the default model, which is like from DeepGram, but you can also change it to all of those like over here. Another cool things in here is the analysis section. So for the analysis section, you can basically have like a summary. So you can like leave like a summary. So make a 3 bullet point summary of my call. I think my internet is a bit laggy. Okay, I think it's back now. Yeah, you can ask it like for a summary, and then you can also measure success evaluation, and you can select the rubric that you want to evaluate your call with. So there's a numeric scale from 1 to 10, or you can also have like a checklist of criteria under status. So let's try the checklist one, and then our checklist, well, checklist will be kind of like subjective. So let's try percentage scale. And then you can also output like structured data. So this is, I would say this is kind of like the most important for Vapi, because you are able to have like your structured data in a JSON format. So as right now, we will be making like scheduling. So we want to create like a JSON structure that will be like, will remain constant throughout like our whole project. These ones are just like extra ones, configurations. Honestly, I've never used them, but like they're just there like for once that you launch Vapi like more professionally, then you can actually use it there. So let's go ahead and hit on publish after the changes that we've made. And then we can try calling it like from my phone. So let's go ahead and click on phone numbers, and then let's like select our assistant from here. So I'm just going to go ahead and select assistant, and I'm going to select Ryan. And I think that would be like all. Let me just see. Wait. Phone number name. So I'm going to call this Ryan. And then I think I don't even have to save it. So I'm just going to leave it like that. I think it's ready. I'm going to try like calling it to see like if it actually works. So let me try calling Ryan over here. So I'm opening up my cell phone, and I'm going to start typing. Oh, you can also chat with them. That's also new. So phone numbers again, and it's a +1. This call will be expensive. 719-298-4259.
This is Ryan, your scheduling assistant. How may I help you today?
So I'm like currently, I want to make a dentist appointment.
It looks like you might be looking for dental services, but Wellness Partners focuses on multi-specialty healthcare, not dental appointments. Would you like to schedule an appointment with one of our healthcare providers? If so, what type of appointment are you looking for?
Yeah, I'm trying to make an appointment to talk about my health in the next week.
I'd be happy to help you with that. Could you please let me know if you have a specific provider you'd like to see, or would you prefer?
No, I just wanted to schedule an appointment for next week on Wednesday at 3 p.m.
Let me check our availability for a health appointment on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Just a moment, please. I see that we don't have a slot available at 3 p.m. on Wednesday. Would you
Okay,
be open to?
thank you.
Great, I can offer you.
Okay, so that was weird because like the AI basically said that, oh, like I don't have space for like next week. And like, how does he even know that he doesn't have space? That was very impressive. So now let's go over and see if we can see like the logs of the call that I just had. So let's go over here and click on call logs. And then we have our first call in here. That's from Ryan. It's customer ended a call. There was a failure on the success evaluation. So let's go ahead and analyze our transcript. So we have a transcript here. Ryan started off saying like, "This is Ryan, your scheduling assistant. How may I help you today?" And I wanted to make like a dentist appointment, but like he mentioned that he's like wellness partners. So that might be because on the system prompt we didn't change it. So maybe like we can try changing that for like better responses. And then I tried like scheduling a call for like next week on Wednesday, and he said that like I see that we don't have a slot available. Like he won't let me like schedule on Wednesday. And then you can also see like the logs in here. You can also see like the analysis. For example, there was like no data. Here's like our summary. So the 3 bullet point summary is like the user initially attempted to schedule a dental appointment but was informed the service does not provide dental care. And in there you can find like a summary. Then for success evaluation, I think we have like no info, and also from data like we didn't extract anything because I didn't told like the AI to extract something. And here are kind of like the JSON format for the different messages, and then we also have the cost of our call. So the cost for this call was about 0.15 cents. And here you can basically see like the breakdown of all of the services. So we are using speech to text. We are also using an LLM and Vapi. Then we're also using the success evaluation summary and again the text to speech. So after going through the dashboard and creating our first AI assistant, for the next stream, we will do like a lot of coding. So we will be basically using like Vapi, but now to create like our own assistant on a web app where we can like see all of these logs in a more structured manner and also in a more like helpful manner like for the user as well. So that would be all for me today. I hope you had a nice time learning about how Vapi works. I'll be sending out a reminder for you all for the next stream. This was a short stream, only like 1 hour. We'll also have like a second one in a couple hours. I'll be sending out reminders and hope you had a nice time. And I will see you later then throughout the day. Bye, everyone.